All right. Welcome to the Creation to Cash Flow podcast. On this podcast, we discuss strategies to maximize your creativity and help you achieve financial freedom. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Nick.
It's so fun starting these episodes. I always just I'm like holding back so much laughter every time, but like not laughter like it's funny or it's a joke. Like if you're new here, we're about to provide you so much value, you're gonna love it. But just laughter of like, this is so fun. I can't believe this is real life and that we do this. It's just so cool and wonderful that it makes me want to break out into laughter.
Yeah, it just makes me happy. It's just like one of those things that just fills your soul, which I want everybody to do more things that fill their souls. But yeah, I know, same. And we're 85 episodes in. That is wild.
It's so beautiful. And on top of that, too, on my camera, when I record these, and if there's always just like a random numbered file, the file that I'm about to record is number 185. So now our episodes are synced up with my SD card's random number system that it uses. So I just feel like everything is falling into place for us.
That's wild. So you're not allowed to use your camera at all because then it's going to mess up everything.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, but now I now I have to only use it for this. So anyway, shall we dive in?
Let's do it.
Today we're talking millionaire success habits. Oof, I'm so excited about this one because I said 16 before when I was talking to you. I think I might have meant 18. But when I was 18, I got an ad on my Instagram that was like, buy this book called Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi. It's free. All you have to do is pay for shipping. And I was like, huh, you fools. I'm so getting that right now. And I bought it and I read it. And then for now many years, free books, because a lot of people do that. They're like to get their name out there because they sell things within their book. Um, Anytime I get ads for free books, all you got to do is pay for shipping. I buy them. I always buy them. I love buying way more books than I can handle reading because they just seem to come into my life at the right time. Like when it's time to read one, I end up doing it. Have you ever read this book or heard of it?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't read that one, but I've read so many that are very similar to that one.
Okay, so there's so many good things. Like the premise of this book was like you don't have to be a millionaire to start acting like one, and if you start acting like one, you're more likely to become a millionaire. So as an 18-year-old, I was like, fuck yeah. That's exactly what I want. Like I want to start acting like the person I want to become so I could become that person. It was before I really was like down the manifestation rabbit holes and understanding and believing in those things. But I was like, honestly, that makes sense. Act like a millionaire and you're more likely to become one. That just made perfect sense to me, even at 18. So I read this book, and biggest takeaway was how I treat service people. What I mean by this is how I treat waiters, waitresses, my dentists, my surf instructors, like the way I treat people massively changed because of this book. To the point where, like, our friend Mike, who we've had on the podcast before, Mike Rama, founder of Brands Meet Creators, me and Michelle both have high level roles at Brands Meet Creators. He picked up on something that I do, as did you, when we're at restaurants together. And it's the fact that I always ask the waiter or waitress their name. And every time they come to the table, I call them by their name. And it just is so much fun and makes them feel so seen and heard. Michelle, what were you thinking the first time you noticed me doing this?
Well, it was normal to me because I've everyone that, like, we're friends with, anytime we go out to eat, they do the same thing, but they're also all millionaires, which I think is very interesting because those people, they do that. And I just remember, like, I didn't even realize they said their name, probably because I was so deep in the menu. And you're over there calling them their name. I'm like, "How do you know their name? They weren't wearing a name tag." And you're like, "Oh, they said it." And I was like, "That is such a good habit." Like, I've been around people that have that habit, and it's genuinely the people that are the most successful and grateful and happy.
It's so crazy how much they appreciate it too. Like when Mike first noticed me doing this, he started doing it not long after too. And he was like, it was just this funny thing that like it just makes for a way better time. You come off differently and you end up getting way better service. So when I was in Utah, maybe a month ago exactly, went to this really nice place in Park City, Utah called the Steak Lounge. And my waiter was just loving it. He was just so loving like the way that I was treating him, to the point where my Jeep had broken down that day and I was waiting on a tow truck, and I kind of gave him the rundown. I was like, "Hey, we're only staying like 2 or 3 minutes away. We want to order our dinner. We know you guys close soon. Like the music here is great, the vibe is great, but I'm gonna have to leave for like 15 minutes and I don't really know what to do." And he was like, "Let's just put in the order." And I order a ribeye. It was like $100 ribeye, and I had to leave not long after I ordered it. And then so he goes to my girlfriend who's still at the table and is like, "Hey, like the food is ready. I'm gonna put it on like one of our warmers for a little bit, but I don't want it sitting there too long. If by the time he gets back, like it's been more than 5 minutes, I'm gonna throw it out and have the chef make a new one."
Wow.
And I was like, and he told me this after I came back because the timing ended up working out great. Did not have to throw it out. It was perfect, perfectly cooked. It was amazing. But I was like, there is no way he would do that for anyone, but he was definitely just loving us, especially because the first thing I ask most waiters and waitresses, I will ask them, "What is your favorite thing on the menu that like you find yourself ordering?" And then he told me, he was like, "This ribeye is incredible." And I was like, "Chris, you've never steered me wrong so far, even though I just met you. I'm getting the ribeye." And like he was just loving the banter so much that he was willing to have the chef make a whole new steak for me if I was 5 minutes late.
Amazing.
So crazy. And then later on, he came up to us and he was like, "Hey, it's your birthday, right?" And I was like, "No, my birthday was in July." And he was like, "Well, when it's your birthday, we always do free cheesecake." He was like, "It's your birthday, right?" And I was like, "Chris, how did you know it was my birthday?" So then he goes and gets us like a free slice of cheesecake with a candle in it and nice stuff. And I was like, man, the way you treat people truly will, like treating other people like overly kindly will improve your life way more than you would think.
Oh, yeah, of course. And it's like the whole karma concept, or you reap what you sow. Like, you treat people like they're special and genuinely mean it, you're going to be treated that way too. Don't do it to be treated that way, but like do it because you feel good. It's just crazy. Like, as you're talking, I'm like, wow, even the concierge team downstairs, when I call them by name, they're like, oh, yeah, yeah. Like, they're shocked because people rarely do that. But it's like a really good habit to get into, and also important. Somebody's name has so much meaning to them. So, why would you not like show them that they mean something to you and that you're grateful for the service that they're providing for you?
Yeah, it's just little things like that. These little things you can pick up on that start to just level you up as an individual. You put more good out into the world, you receive more good. Because most of the time I do this, there is no, I'm not getting a free dessert out of it.
Right.
I'm not getting two ribeyes out of it. Like most of the time, you just end up making that person feel good. They might not even acknowledge it, but you just know that in their head, they're like, I'm happy I had this table today, especially when I give them a fat tip at the end, because
Yeah.
if we're having fun and having good banter, I'm going to give them a great tip because I want to bless them. And I know if I share more money with the world, more is going to come back to me because I'm going to be in a better headspace.
Oh, for sure.
Michelle, do you have any millionaire success habits that you feel like you live by that you're aware of or maybe unaware of?
What a loaded question. I'm literally not even thinking about any of that right now. I'm sure there are. I'm sure that there's a lot that I do, but none that is like I do it because of it's a millionaire success habit, but almost because I learned to do this long ago and it's just part of who I am. And people see the way I am and they're like, they think I'm some like nice, put together person. I mean, I'm nice, but they think I'm some like put together, like super successful boss bitch person. And it's just part of who I am because I've learned from people like Dale Carnegie, how to win friends and influence people. I've learned from them and it's become part of literally my DNA. So I'm sure, but I have not looked up on like, oh yeah, this thing that I do just by natural nature habitually is a success a millionaire success habit. Like I'm sure there are, but like I don't think of it like that. I just think of it as this is just part of what I do, and I don't know why, but it is probably in the book that you're referring to.
I could think of a ton for you.
That's what
Um,
I'm saying. I'm like I don't even know where to start. I'm sure,
yeah.
but like okay, tell me one.
First one that comes to mind is that you will spend extra money to have things brought to you
Oh yeah.
instead of wasting time and going and getting things that you need. And like that is such an underrated millionaire success habit because like does it cost more money to say have your groceries delivered than like going and buying them? Yes, but like if that ends up also saving you 2 hours that you would have lost and you do even one productive thing like meditating, cleaning around the house or an income producing activity, like that is what millionaires do. They do not go, not that there's anything wrong with grocery shopping. That's just the example I picked for you specifically, Michelle. Like if anyone's listening and they're like, I like grocery shopping, it's fine. But it's more so the little things that you spend your money on. Like, do you buy things you don't need with your money, or do you buy yourself more time in the day with your money? And Michelle, you are so good at buying yourself more time in the day.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I'm all even this morning, my mobile detailer came to my apartment complex. I unlocked my Tesla from my phone app. He was down there. He cleaned the car for an hour, got all the sand out of it from the beach, from surfing, finally. And inside and out, fully cleaned, and then left. And we Venmoed him. Didn't even have to go down there. I didn't even have to take an elevator ride. Instead, I spent my entire morning getting together some contracts and stuff like that. Like I was productive this morning rather than going to a $10 car wash, which you shouldn't do with a Tesla because it'll scratch your paint. And it's not even the interior. Like these things to me, I justify a lot of things. So I'm glad to hear that's a habit, a millionaire success habit. That's just something that I do. I do that with so many my housekeeper's coming today and I'm gonna be in here working and she's gonna be cleaning my house instead of me cleaning for 4 hours.
Yeah, there are so many of these that I think we both employ. But I want to get back to restaurants because from our favorite author, Robin Sharma, another profound chapter hit us the other day, and we have to talk about it. So, this chapter, it's chapter 149 of The Wealth Money Can't Buy, and it's called Don't Salt Your Food Before You Eat It. So, Robin Sharma in this chapter is describing that he was at a fancy restaurant getting lunch with a friend. Dinner came and, or lunch came, I guess, because they were getting lunch, and he put salt and pepper all over his food before he tasted it. And Robin Sharma's friend told him, Henry Ford would never hire you. And he was like, What? What are you talking about? But the reason being is because Henry Ford used to take people out to lunch to see how they behave, how they treat their waiters and waitresses, and essentially how they treat the chef. Because by putting salt and pepper on his food before even tasting it, he's pretty much assuming that the chef has not properly seasoned his food already. So that used to tell Henry Ford, who would take his potential business partners out to lunch and see how they act, that would tell him that he makes assumptions about people before he's even given them a try or a taste. And that was crazy to read.
Yeah, and it's also called don't. salt your food before you taste it, not before you eat it. I think the word makes a difference just because it's like, yes, you can salt it before you eat it, but it's all about the taste. It's all about the what you're expecting it to be. Also, I think this was more for employees, not business partners, right? Like he was trying to figure out about people to hire, not people to work alongside,
That
right?
might be true. That might be
Yeah,
true.
so it's more so like a good employee, um, somebody you would trust being part of your company and your business and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, yeah, there that whole chapter, so profound. There's a couple more points, right, that he makes in that chapter?
Yes, so it ends up turning out to like three rules essentially that Henry Ford had. Rule number one was if you salt and pepper your food before tasting it, you assume the chef didn't do their job properly, and you shouldn't make assumptions about other people like that. It says a lot about you. Rule number two was that this person makes decisions based on no analysis of facts, right? So, like, pretty similar, but like, you can't make decisions based on having no information yet. You haven't tasted the food. And rule number three, these people are less likely to have an open mind because they are stuck in their ways. Because if you're just like, oh, it's just a habit, I just put salt and pepper on my food always, it's like, well, so you're making assumptions with no facts just because you're used to doing that. Like, sounds like you would make a terrible employee. So, very intelligent by Henry Ford. Um, and just eye opening to think about these little things we do, these little habits, these little mannerisms, and a lot of them are in restaurants. Like a lot of these little things we do, like the drinks that you order, how much water you drink, like just little habits that really make a difference in how you're going to live your life, how other people are going to see you, what kind of employee you would make. It's very interesting how much you could learn about people when you go out to eat with them.
Yeah, and it reminds me of something you used to do or something you've talked about in the past in one of our episodes from the very beginning where you were saying something about like the people that you might work with or coach. You said like, "Let me see your room," or like, do you remember that you like had this like thing where you're like, "I want to see X, Y, and Z," and it said something about them.
Yes, I that's I'm so happy you brought that up because I forgot about that. I have not done that lately with the last like 10 people I've hired. Um I'm going to start doing that again. But I would ask people to make their bed and send me a picture of it. Because the other like option where I would before I started doing this, I was like, I should ask them to send me a picture of their bed and see if it's made. But like they would just make it. They would be like, I'm not sure why he's asking for that, but let me make it look good. So that wasn't I wasn't learning anything, but I would ask them make your bed and send me a picture of it because I like to think about the like how you do anything is how you do everything. So if someone goes to make their bed and like you could tell they did a lazy job, you're going to learn a lot about that person's work ethic very quickly because they're like, oh, I just try to get things done fast and not make it perfect. And I'm looking for people that are a bit of a perfectionist. Like when I make my bed, I take the extra time to like I don't just like stuff the sheet under. Like I try to really like take everything off and make it perfect and make sure all the pillows are at the right angle and things like that. And that's a millionaire success habit for sure. Like the way you do little things makes a big difference. Um,
Hmm. It's interesting because there's a lot of mixed feelings about the way that I do my content because I'm very meticulous and I take time and I'm all about quality over quantity. And to a business owner, let's say somebody hired me, that could be annoying because they're like, we just need to crank out content. But there's also the other side where it's like, but every piece has excellence behind it and it shows something like the just the time and effort put into it. So I think there's also like that side of things too, where it's also like, if you are meticulous, is it because you're a perfectionist or is it because you really want to show up with excellence? And I think that's really important for everyone to know and also to strive for not perfection, but just excellence, a proper representation of who you are anytime is really who you are all the time deep down. And so it's like, who are you most of the time as well, not just when people are looking.
That's a very important distinction to make. I'm glad you mentioned that because you're right. It's not just about perfectionism, it's about showing up with excellence and just knowing the quality of your own work. There's another chapter in The Wealth Money Can't Buy about this called Paint the Inside of the Fence. And do you
Yes,
remember this one?
I do.
Was it Robin Sharma and his dad in this example, or just like, was it just a story about two people?
Ooh, good question. I thought it was Robin and his dad, but it could have been like he was talking about a story that he had heard, but I think it was him and his dad.
Okay, I thought so too. So I'm going to describe it that way for our listeners. Um, in this chapter of The Wealth Money Can't Buy, by the way, you could get this book from either of our storefronts. Highly, highly, highly recommend any book by Robin Sharma. Both of those links are certainly in the episode description. But anyway, in this chapter called Paint the Inside of the Fence, Robin Sharma is super young, or whoever it was, and his dad asks him to paint the fence. He's like, "Hey, I need you to paint the fence white. Like it we just put up a new fence and it just needs to be painted." And so Robin Sharma paints the fence, and it's like a picket fence. So I was imagining like where there's like a picket on the outside and then one on the inside and then one on the outside and then one on the inside. So there's all those little cracks in between. And Robin Sharma paints the fence, the outsides of it on both sides. And then his dad is like, "Oh, good job. Like, did you paint the inside of the fence?" And Robin's like, "No, I didn't paint the inside of it. Like, no one can see that. No one can see through the cracks." Um, and Robin Sharma's dad was like, "But you can, and you know that the fence isn't fully painted." And he just spins it into a lesson of like, it's not always about what other people see. Like, you don't want to take shortcuts like that just because you can get away with it. You really are going to become a much better, stronger, smarter, happier, healthier, wealthier individual if you paint the inside of the fence. Like, if you do the little things that are going to take you further in the long run and you do things right. And that was just another like crazy chapter where I was like, "Oh my god, like that's you to a T, Michelle."
Yeah, and this book has really affirmed that in me because obviously there are times when I'm like, dang, why can't I just put this thing out? Why does it have to look pretty? Why do I have to check the grammar 20 times? Like, but I think that that's just me, and I'm embracing that more and more these days. Just like, I think that's what I bring to the table that's unique. And it's not that I try to be that way, it's just I am. I have to try to not be that way with a lot of things. I have to try to not make everything look perfect and like beautiful and aesthetic and put together. But I'm also like, but I have this skill. And you know what? I think that's okay. So, yeah, I think it builds confidence in me when I'm like you said, the sheets. Yeah, sometimes the sheets are like crumbled a little bit and I could put the comforter over and the throw pillows will cover it, but I know underneath it's not flat. It's not tucked in properly. And I feel like I'm half-assing something if I just let it be that way, but I feel so good when I take the time to smooth it out, make sure it's all like put together. Like I just feel better about me and like just what I can do. And it's the weirdest like internal confidence builder to just do things full out, do things with excellence. It feels good even when no one ever will see it.
It's so true. And when I first made a TikTok about that and about how I do that when I'm looking for employees, oh my God, I got so much hate. Everyone was like, "You're a fucking crazy person. No one would ever want to work for you," all these things. So it's so affirming to now be, that was probably 2 years ago. It's so affirming to now spend time around people like yourself, to have hired many employees, to have built amazing teams of people that truly do deliver excellence always. It's so affirming that all the people in my comments got all riled up because that just affirms like, actually, none of y'all are hireable. Like, you guys can be mad all you want, but like, to our listeners here, you guys are already on a different level. Like, you guys are on a totally different playing field than anyone in your niche, in your competitive markets, wherever, just because you spend time listening to this podcast, trying to get better, trying to get smarter, trying to develop better habits. So when I first posted that and got a bunch of hate comments, I was like, am I the crazy person? Or is there just a bunch of lazy people in my comments, you know? And like, it was definitely interesting to see the results. So I don't know. I just want our listeners to take a minute to pat themselves on the back, because truly, like, y'all should be so proud of yourselves just for putting in that work. Like, no matter what you're doing, if you're driving, if you're walking, if you're just sitting, if you're laying in your bed listening to this, like, you truly should be so proud of yourself for spending time reprogramming your brain to understand and implement things like this.
Also, I think we all want people who do have these habits of doing everything with excellence. Like if I'm in a building right now. I'm on the 30th floor. Yeah, I'm on the 30th floor. And if the architects would have cut corners and something wasn't of good foundation, I don't want that. I don't want to live somewhere where they hired people who are half-assing things and cutting corners. I don't want a surgeon who's half-assing a surgery. I don't want a dentist who's half-assing my cleaning. Like I don't want somebody to groom Oliver, my dog, and not cut his nails properly and hit a nerve and hurt him. I don't want my hairstylist to F up my coloring or my cut. Like there's things that we're like picking and choosing what is excellent, but I think that we should always want that. And so we should always be that.
I almost said it's true. It's so true
Do
because it
it,
is.
say it.
It's just true. It's just true. You're right. You're right about it. That's my saying when Michelle drops bombs, because that was a bomb right there. It's just so amazing to think about, like, all these little changes, because it took a long time to implement these changes and see the results. And then you start seeing them and you start thinking about, like, what if I didn't make these changes? Like, what if I didn't start addressing waiters and waitresses by name? What if I didn't start like tipping people all the time? What if I didn't support every small business, lemonade stand, solopreneur that I come across? Like, what if I didn't do those things? Where would I be? And the obvious answer is like, not here.
Yeah. Okay, so what are some other millionaire success habits?
Okay, good question. I wish I prepared more or like reread this book, but I loaned it to my brother because I wanted him to read it. I'll give you one that I definitely know of and that I'm a huge fan of. I just did this actually for you and Evan. Handwrite notes and letters.
Yes.
That is absolutely a massive millionaire success habit. Handwriting notes and letters for people that you appreciate or that did a good job on something, or that you just want to remind that, like, they're in your prayers. Oof, it is the best feeling. Like, when I was living with Michelle and Evan for 2 weeks after, I hand wrote each of them a note and left it. And like, truly, like, took my like, I definitely spent 10 or 20 minutes on each of those, just like trying to, like, what is something I could say that truly, like, just encapsulates how grateful I am to have friends like this, and also is like, say something funny and like recap this trip a little bit. And it just goes such a long way. Like, how do you feel when you receive something like that?
Like, I'm on top of the world, like, I was appreciated, like, "Don't leave." Like, you even cleaned up the entire room, you cleaned the dang toilet, like, you left this place better than you found it, which is another thing that's just, like, amazing, and then you were truly appreciative and not expecting, like, everything, right? You weren't expectant and just like, "Yeah, okay, thanks, bye." Like, you actually had appreciation, and we felt that.
I try to do these letters as often as I can, whenever I can. So, like, for example, one of our listeners, Lexi, just won the Atomic Habits book that we talked about a couple episodes ago. We were like, guys, we need, which we still do, we always do, we need more submissions from you guys to do more AYQ episodes. We try to space them out. We don't want every episode to be an answer your question AYQ episode, but to incentivize you guys to do some more of them. And since Michelle accidentally sent me 2 copies of Atomic Habits because she really wanted me to read it, I was like, I'll give one away to one of our listeners, next person who submits one of these voice notes. So Lexi won it, and by the time she has it, this it's okay for me to say this. I'm not spoiling anything, but like I'm gonna handwrite a very nice message in there, like, and I'm gonna take my time on it. And I know when she gets it, she's going to feel so special and appreciated, and she's gonna feel like she's the only listener of this podcast because like that's just what I do. That is a millionaire success habit, writing people notes and doing things like that. I do it on birthdays too. Like, I don't buy shitty Hallmark cards for people's birthdays and just write like a sentence or two. I'll rip out a piece of paper from my notebook and it'll have all the jagged edges on top. It's not going to be the prettiest piece of paper, but I will write a message that will shit on anything Hallmark could say because I wrote it and it came from me and my hand and my heart. And it makes people feel way, way, way better than just buying a Hallmark card and writing, like, have a great summer or whatever.
Oh my god, nobody does that. What I do is I bought some cardstock from Amazon, and I make, like, a custom card in Canva with some photos of us if we have any, and then I'll, like, print little, like, Polaroid miniature photos and put it in there, and I'll write a note inside of the custom, like, thing with their name printed on it. Like, I make it all customized and very tailored towards that specific person. Every card that I make for someone, it's so hard for me to, like, actually get a card from like a store. I still do a personalized like thing. I don't just sign my name if I was to do that, but I love just like simply printing something out that I've made and then like printing out little photos. They don't have to keep the photos, but it just makes it so personalized.
You did this when I got to your
Oh
penthouse.
yeah.
Just the little things we do, and it's funny that we do them for each other, but we do them for everyone. Like, it's just millionaire success habits are not the kind of thing that you pick and choose when to do. Habits just should be something that happens naturally. Like, we almost barely I almost forgot about the fact that like you did that, or like I wrote like letters for you and Evan, because it's just millionaire success habits that we live by. But like when I got to Michelle's, she had a whole basket. Like, I was checking into an Airbnb with the Wi-Fi welcoming me. It had cantaloupe. It had like my favorite snacks and things. I was like, oh my goodness, like it is just so cool to spend time around people that live the same way. And that's also why we love doing this podcast.
Yeah, agreed. Also, one thing that I do know about millionaire success habits is prioritizing your health. That's another thing. And it's not about the way you look, but it's genuinely knowing that when you're old, say you're a billionaire, you're going to want to exchange all of that for good health. And so it's just like prioritize your health, take care of yourself, have habits that are taking care of you mentally and physically every single day. And you're going to attract others that are also taking care of themselves. And that's going to become your circle. That's going to become your people. And you're going to attract opportunities that are seeking out people that are taking care of themselves mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, all the things. So you have to do that too. Don't underestimate that, especially if you work on a computer all day. Get a standing desk and a treadmill like I've had for the past 2.5 years now. Like, there are things that you can do, incorporate them into your life, and then you can genuinely just have a completely different healthy lifestyle. Like, I don't drink soda. I do not eat fast food ever. Since 2020, it's been over 4 years. I do not touch any fast food, no fast food restaurants, no sodas, like not even diet sodas, nothing. So it's just like, incorporate these little tiny habits into your life because you're going to start showing yourself like, oh, I deserve X, Y, and Z, whatever it is that you desire.
Okay, so I've been trying not to laugh and interrupt you. I put down my walking pad yesterday and was getting ready to walk on it while I was in a meeting. Could not find the remote anywhere. And as I'm sitting here laughing about that, I'm looking at it's white, so I didn't notice it. It's on my windowsill, literally right there, staring at me. And I looked in every like drawer and place except there because I raised my desk so I didn't see it behind the window because the windowsill is a little bit lower. Oof, but that was such a hack. Walking the walking pad and the standing desk, such a hack, because once you start walking, the quality of your work and your motivation to work literally just goes through the roof. Like as soon as I start walking, I'm like, I'm going to make new trainings on this topic for all the people that mentioned 8 months ago that they were interested in that. Like I'm just like, I'm just feeling inspired. I'm just going to go do this right now. So it's very interesting how just taking better care of yourself and your health starts to spill into everything you do. So absolutely a millionaire success habit.
Yeah, the walking for me, for ADHD, I know we've talked about this, but I genuinely feel like my brain that is chaotic and distracted and all over the place just becomes like a normal brain when I start walking. It's like I can channel all of that chaotic energy physically into my steps, and then I can suddenly have streamlined processes, reply to emails, make decisions. I feel like an entirely different person. So when I'm overwhelmed and I'm in like analysis paralysis, or I'm just in this like overwhelmed state where I am doing 20 things but nothing's getting done, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go walk on my walking pad. Even if I just wheel it into my living room with no desk, I just start walking on it, and suddenly it's like I'm a whole different person. And I'm like, okay, if this is the most natural medication I can take to manage my ADHD. It's crazy how impactful such a simple machine can be in your literal everyday. I think I am right now in this penthouse because I started walking on my walking pad 2.5 years ago. Because that helped me come out with my very first course. That's helped me with so many different things. And it's just like I learned that habit. It's become a habit. It's now part of me, and I don't want to live without it. And so you've got to find those little things that work for you as well.
Wouldn't be surprised at all if that truly is like directly what happened for you, because for me it was cold plunging. Like
Hmm.
there's always, maybe not always, but at least for each of us, there is that one habit that we can just attribute to like that leveled me up like many times. For me it was cold plunging. I might be getting a new one actually. I haven't done any brand deals in a while, but I've got a company interested in sending me a new and improved one. So I'm like really excited about the potential of doing this, because truly cold plunging just hardened me up as an individual. It made me so resilient to the fact that like trying to build your dream life while living a life that isn't really in alignment with you can be so exhausting and difficult and frustrating and take so long. So I needed something that was going to like toughen me up to the fact that these next few months or even years are going to be maybe the hardest I've ever experienced. I'm going to be stretched thin. Some of my relationships might suffer because I'm trying to work so hard on my goals. And cold plunging just made me like next level Nick. Uh, it made me get ahead with Nick.
I love that.
Wow. Any other millionaire success habits coming to mind for you? I wish I reread this book for this episode, but like I said, I don't have it right now. I'm just still living them.
No, but I can do a summary.
Please.
I think at the end of the day, always give more than you take. Just be a giver. Show people appreciation, show people how much they matter, and truly mean it too. Like, don't underestimate the power of a smile. Smile at a stranger, smile at somebody. That can genuinely change their entire day around and yours. Even if you're faking it yourself, your body is going to see that you're smiling and it's going to feel better. Like, it truly is such an underestimated thing. And then also just know that like your habits, your daily habits, those are what make your entire life. So find things that are in alignment with who you want to be. If you are a multimillionaire, what would you be doing every day? What are the things you would do? Would you hire somebody to come help you with things instead of you spend time on it? Start doing it now. And just know that like time is the most valuable thing that we have. So be kind to people, be generous, smile, take care of yourself, and you should be good to go.
That's a great summary. You reminded me of one other, because you encapsulated it great by saying like it's really just all about how you treat other people. That seems to be the theme of most of these. And you reminded me that giving people compliments is another one that you and I do very often. Like I was at the gym yesterday morning doing maybe it was Monday actually. I think it was Monday, doing a miserable ab workout. I named it miserable ab
It was
workout
Monday.
because yeah, it was Monday. And there was someone, like, people usually don't talk to each other in the gym. I don't listen to music when I'm in the gym because I'm not trying to drown out my thoughts. I want to sit with them and like deal with the stress. So I go no headphones, no anything. Some people say like a crazy person. That's a David Goggins tip. Um, Regardless, I walked up to someone in between their set, gave him a fist bump, and I was like, "Dude, nice shirt." And like people don't do shit like that in the gym or in public. Like it's so rare that someone would go out of their way like that to someone who has headphones on and just like offer them a compliment. He was wearing a Bitcoin shirt. So I was like, dude, nice shirt. And he was like, you like it? I was like, dude, I love it. And he was like, thanks, man. That was nice. And then I just let him go back to his thing. I went back to my machine. He went back to doing his deadlifts or whatever he was doing. And it just made me feel great. Like I was like, that was my good deed for the day. Cause I know that he's going to think about that all day. He's going to think about the stranger that came up to him when he's been wearing, it looked like a shirt that he'd worn a couple of times. He's going to be like, man, I've been wearing this shirt for like 2 years. No one's ever said anything like that. And he definitely had a much better day because of it. And I did too. So that's another millionaire success habit. Give people compliments and go out of your way to do it. Don't do it when it's easy and you see one of your friends be like, oh, those new shoes, I like them. Compliment strangers.
Yeah, especially on social media. If you like something, like take time out of your day to make a comment. It really means a lot to the people creating.
I do that all the time. I will comment on someone with a small account who's like definitely grinding, trying to get going on social media. I will comment. I will be like, hey, I'm loving this content. Like, keep going.
Yeah, I do that with people that are like posting TikTok shop stuff, especially people in brands meet creators. I will just go buy whatever they're promoting. If they're on a live, if they posted a video, like I literally go buy these things even if I don't use them. I'm like I want to support them any way that I can. I want to support them. And I just love being that way. I love doing that for people.
It's so fun. It feels so good. So, before we wrap up, not only do we need more AYQ submissions, you guys could go to creation2cashflow.com, submit your up to 90-second voice memo. Tell us your name, where you're from, and either a topic or a question or a thing you want us to do an episode on. You could be super specific to your life or maybe general. Give us more of those. We love doing them. This podcast is for you guys. So, also, make sure you're subscribed and give us that good rating. We do this podcast for you guys. The more you give us good ratings and the more you share the love, the more quality and quantity and better episodes and more resources we're going to have to keep making more content for you guys. We don't run ads on the show. This is the only thing that we ask. So, hope you loved it. We love doing it for you guys. And that's it. Enjoy your day. What do I usually say at the end? I feel like I'm forgetting all the
You
important
plug
things.
our social medias and creation
Yeah.
of cash flow and rating the show and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you guys should also, I don't want to give you guys too much to do. Don't even worry about the social medias today. Just go give us that rating or that review or make sure you're subscribed because that right there is a millionaire success habit. Making sure that you get notifications when these episodes drop. That right there is your millionaire success habit. That's your homework. So we'll forget about the socials for today. And we love you guys. Thanks for listening.